first question is, do you believe that a water crisis exists?
I think it depends on what part of the country you're referring to. I mean, globally, clearly there are problems. In the United States, in the Midwest, with the Great Lakes and plentiful rainfall, I think it's clearly less of a concern here. But parts of the West, particularly the Southwest, is a very serious problem.
And then in relation to a water crisis, what do you believe about manufactured demand, or what are your thoughts about the idea of manufactured demand?
Okay, and by manufactured demand, you mean the proliferation of bottled water as a primary drinking source for Americans?
Right. Companies giving you the idea that bottled water is necessary and that it's the thing to do.
Sure. I think in a free society, in a capitalistic society, companies are free to use whatever tools they have to convince people to buy a product. And so selling bottled water under the guise of it's better, it's cleaner, is really no different than a clothing store trying to convince you that their product is better than another. Unfortunately, in this case, you're talking about a finite natural resource, and so that I think probably changes how most people would view this. I also think that the companies play on human emotion, and uninformed consumers assume the bottled product is actually cleaner than tap water, and of course we know that's not true. Do I think it's wrong? No, I think it is. I think it's purely market driven, and unfortunately uninformed consumers are being taken advantage of.
And then if a water crisis does exist, how do you think that would affect ISU specifically?
ISU works with the town of Normal on water consumption, and so we have a presence in their planning processes because we obviously depend on them for our water. Water for this community is water sources are in very good shape. There is some long-range planning taking place right now for dealing with future demand. The campus itself has, as its renovated buildings, has replaced our fixtures with low-flow devices, and as we've redone all of our residence hall towers, that has been done. We also have tried to be much better about repairing leaks because we understand that about 15% of our water consumption is lost through leaks, and so we've tried to be more efficient and timely in fixing those kinds of things. The residence halls, of course, are the big consumers, and I think the low flow devices have definitely made a difference.
And then does ISU have a plan of action in case of a water crisis?
We don't control our own water resources, and so our planning and collaboration is with the town of Normal, and the town of Normal, I think, has done a very good job in making sure that we have a long-range supply that will meet today's needs as well as the future. Most of our water comes from wells, and those wells tap into the Muhammad Aquifer, and it is a very robust supply, and we think even in an extended drought we would be okay.
Now in our findings we found that Coca-Cola took a lot of its reserves from India, leaving Indians with dirty rainwater, which frequently had high amounts of pollution. And we also found that in case of a crisis, Coca-Cola could potentially raise its prices to astronomical rates. In addition, we found that Coca-Cola used 900,000 liters per year of water. 1/3 of it was for their products, and 2/3 of it was for cleaning. Now, based on the fact that based on the fact that Coca-Cola is taking reserves from India, would you support ISU efforts to boycott buying Coca-Cola products?
I guess I'd have to know more about the issue and hear their side and balance. Um, but I'd certainly consider it. And we have, in terms of our licensed apparel wear, we've been very good about making sure that the people that license our products are treating their employees fairly, even for those products that are produced overseas. So I would certainly be willing to listen with an open mind and then make a decision.
Right. And lastly, do you have any suggestions for solving this problem?
Well, I think I think the entire world has to come to grips with the impact of human presence on the planet, all the way from pollution to use of natural resources, to climate change, to energy consumption, to overpopulation. It's clear that we as a planet, we need to think about the number of people the planet can sustain. And I don't hear that conversation occur